Welcome back to the Own Your Voice pod. Today's episode is inspired by a question I got from one of our members in the Own Your Voice Tribe Telegram channel. How do you make the most out of opportunities that may be dreary? And how do you motivate yourself when doing responsibilities you're not so passionate about? So if you're in a job, you're a corporate professional, what you're doing as a job may not be the thing you're most passionate about. And if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes after years of building your business, things get repetitive and you may lose that spark. And for everybody, there will be parts of your work, aspects of your work that you don't enjoy. For me, I love speaking to people, I love coaching, I love being on podcasts, anything that has to do with interacting with people, meeting people face to face, I love. But what I do not love as much is the planning, using Excel sheets, preparing proposals. I'm not a fan of all of that part. But I have to do it, at least for the first couple of years. In future, I could outsource it, but right now, I have to do it because it's the first couple of years of my business. And here's the problem. Do something without heart and people can tell. It really gives off a certain energy, and this energy actually creates your brand presence, and that brand presence and that impression will stay with people. They'll remember you for that. If you half-ass something, even if like physically you're doing something but your heart and your soul isn't there, people can tell and they're not a fan of that. So the question today is, how can you do everything with excellence and inspiration even when you aren't so passionate about it? I'm going to be talking about 3 ways that you can do so. Before diving into the 3 ways, I suggest downloading the document that comes with this. It includes the powerful guiding questions that I mentioned throughout this podcast, and actually using these powerful guiding questions will really exponentially change the impact this podcast has on you. As you listen through this podcast and I share the principles and the thought process behind it, you can use those questions and reflect on them and coach yourself through them. So this document, including the powerful guiding questions, is available in my private Telegram channel. All you have to do is to head to the description of this podcast, click the link over there and join the channel. Okay, so let's dive right into the 3 ways. Number 1, understand your bigger purpose, and A, find ways in which your job contributes to your bigger purpose, and B, find opportunities within your job for you to serve your bigger purpose. So let's talk about what your bigger purpose is, right? It's such an iffy word. A bigger purpose is basically what you believe you're meant to do in this world. The American author Wes Moore talks about this, the difference between your job and your work. Your job is your job, your physical job, right? A marketer, social media strategist, etc. Your work is what gets your heart beating just a little bit faster. My business coach describes this as your occupation versus your real function. My occupation is a coach or a speaker or a content creator. My real function is to guide people to realize their gifts and communicate their true value so that they can find their place in this world. And I can do that through speaking, creating content, through having one-on-one conversations with someone. I don't have to do it just through coaching. So once again, find out what's the difference between your job versus your work, your occupation versus your real function. So how do you find your bigger purpose? Here are some questions that you can reflect on. Number 1, what work energizes me? What work energizes me? What does this mean? This is work that when you do it, you don't notice that time passes. You feel like the entire world just disappears and you're in this giant bubble. That is what happens when you do work that truly energizes and inspires you. This happens for me when I'm guiding people through realizations and expanding their perspective. Either when I coach, when I speak to an audience, even on this podcast. And this happens for me when I am in front of the camera, I'm speaking, when I'm holding the attention of a crowd and leading them to a certain realization, leading their thinking into a greater perspective. And when I do that, I realize that time stands still for me. I don't worry about what I'm having for lunch, what's happening later on. I sort of just truly focus because I'm so in the moment. So I want you to think, what energizes me? Look back in the past week, the past month. You may even need to look back and think back throughout your entire life. Ask yourself, what is certain activities, certain things that you do that when you do it, you feel like time stands still and you don't even think about what's happening next because you're truly enjoying what you're doing. Once you do that, once you find that greater purpose, I want you to A, find ways in which your job contributes to your bigger purpose, and B, find opportunities within your job to serve your bigger purpose. So now I'm going to dive deeper to these two parts, A and B. A, find ways in which your job contributes to your bigger purpose. This is a lot more of an internal work for you to realize that your job actually contributes to your bigger purpose or not. So this is the next question I want you to ask yourself. How are the skills you learn and the experiences you gain in your job relevant to your bigger purpose? So I give you an example. A couple of years ago, I was interning as a video producer, right? Because I thought, hey, maybe I'll like this role. And I also didn't think that I will be starting my coaching business back then. As I was doing the internship for the first couple of months, I realized that editing entertainment videos is not my thing. But I saw it as a way for me to learn the editing skills, learn the video producing skills that I apply to my business right now. Right now, I'm using those skills to create inspiring content. So I'm really glad that I actually took those skills I learned as a video producer, and it contributes to my bigger purpose today. As I run my coaching business, I am able to use those editing skills, those producing skills, those creativity experiences to create content that really inspires my audience. So for entrepreneurs, what you can do is to write down a list of reasons why your work contributes to your bigger purpose, even work that you don't like. And this is where you really have to get honest with yourself. If you find it hard to write down a list of reasons, then the real question is your current business the right platform for you to serve your purpose? Yes, it's a very painful question to ask. But is your current business the right platform for you to serve your purpose? Now let's go into B. Find ways, find opportunities within your job where you can serve your bigger purpose. So this is the next question. What are the current opportunities in the workplace that allows you to serve your bigger purpose? One of my coaches, Jennifer, is a life coach for introverts. And she actually also has a full-time job where she works in marketing and as a creative. And she noticed that during her work social events, extroverts are the ones volunteering to lead. And what happens is that introverts don't really get to speak up because, well, you can imagine, right? Like extroverts, they talk and talk and talk. And sometimes the entire meeting room or the entire Zoom room is just filled with the louder people sort of like talking over each other. And for introverts, it's hard for them to get heard or like to even want to speak up because it's kind of scary, right? Everybody's just talking. So that's what she noticed. So she decided to step forward and propose a plant social because she loves plants. And by her leading, she gets to direct the conversation at a comfortable pace and give opportunities for introverts to speak. So that's actually one way that she is serving her larger purpose even in her full-time job. And by doing this, she becomes a very positive example for her own coaches, because she's a coach for introverts. She becomes a positive example for her own coaches to find ways within their workplace to use their voice. Okay, so once again, the question here is, what are the current opportunities in the workplace that allow you to serve your bigger purpose? Another question you can ask yourself is, what opportunities can you create in order to serve your bigger purpose? I'll give you an example once again. When I was interning as a video producer, I realized creating entertainment videos aren't really my thing, as I mentioned. So what I did is I realized that I naturally found opportunities to serve my purpose in one-on-one conversation with the other interns. So I was a video producer, and usually video producers will be sent with a writer, and we'll travel to a particular location to do the shoot. So I will be the one taking the photos and the videos, and the writer will be the one taking notes, because then they will write the article. And I always got sent with this particular intern, right? And I mean, since I'm being sent to him, right, I'm gonna talk to him, right? I will talk to him. So I was just having conversation with him. He's someone that I think he's entering university next year or something like that at that point in time. And he couldn't really decide what he wanted to choose as a career, what modules he wanted to choose, what course of study he wanted to choose. He had some idea of what he wanted, but his parents wanted something different from him. And so I saw the opportunity to give him perspective, to guide him, to informally, I didn't even know I was doing coaching back then, but what I did was I was actually coaching him to realize that him choosing his own path, him designing his own life is far more important than just listening to what his parents had to say. And I think at the end of the day, he really realized that by him choosing himself, he's actually going to serve his parents in the bigger picture. Because let's just be honest, when we just follow what our parents say, what might happen is that years from now, you may be resentful because you might start internally blaming your parents for making you do something that you don't want to do. And that will backfire, because I think the whole reason why our parents ask us to do something is because they believe that's the best for us and they love us. So actually the best way to serve them is to design your own life and to excel in what you love to do. And after a couple of months of, having conversations with him, he really changed the way he thought, and he started looking out for mentors as well. He started considering what he wanted. By the end of the internship, when we were writing postcards to each other, thank you notes to each other, usually he would give just a small postcard like that. But what he did was he ended up giving me this 2 postcards to illustrate his thanks for me. Oh my gosh. And it's really sweet. I think he essentially said that thank you so much for being my mentor and for inspiring me, for allowing me to really change my life and write my own life. And yeah, he sent me a lot of different cards as well, this one as well. But the whole point is that I think that interaction, that experience showed me that my purpose was really to inspire and speak life to people, for them to truly see their gifts, understand their true value, and use that to pursue what they really want instead of following what other people want for them. So that's what I mean by creating opportunities in your workplace to serve your bigger purpose. You can do that through things that are not within your job description, like doing social events, parties, conversations, lunch conversations. So once again, the question is, what opportunities can you create in order to serve your bigger purpose? Now, let's dive into point number 2. Discovering what you value and what motivates you. I believe that we do things out of both altruism and narcissism. Okay, no one is 100% altruistic. For example, when I coach people through transformation, I do it because I want people to realize their potential, because I used to see myself as someone that had nothing to contribute. I didn't value my voice. I didn't even value myself. I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I would be the one always at the side or at the corner of the room hiding, and nobody would even know that I was there until someone realizes and then approaches me and talks to me. Then I will start using my voice. I didn't think that I mattered, and I never want someone to feel that way. So I considered my vision in life to help people find their place in this world, and coaching is one way that I do that. So that's the altruistic side. But there's also a narcissistic side for why I do it. I do it because I love it. I enjoy it. I feel like I'm a part of someone's journey. It fulfills me. It feels really good. It makes me feel significant. So both sides come together for me to enjoy what I do, right? Even people who volunteer at the elderly shelter, yes, they're serving someone, but they won't do it if they don't enjoy it, right? Like for me, yes, as much as I do love the environment, I'm not out there, advocating for the environment, because it's just not a cause that I'm passionate about. It doesn't fulfill me. So we all have certain causes, certain activities that we love to do naturally and also serves people. So what you want to do is to discover what you value and what motivates you. Understand what you value, what motivates you. Are you someone that enjoys a challenge? If you enjoy a challenge, then take on projects that are a bit out of your comfort zone. Be in an environment that's fast-paced, like the startup space. Are you someone that values human connection? If you value human connection, take on roles that are client-facing. So you have to talk to people more. You're not always staying in the office. You get to talk to new people every week. Are you motivated by seeing through the process of creating something from start to finish? If you are, then take on projects where you're building something from start to finish. For example, video producing or film production or scientific research. So you want to ask yourself, what is it that you value? What motivates you? What's the environment that makes you feel inspired? And find that in your job. Create accountability groups. Surround yourself with people that motivate you and that makes you feel inspired. And if your current company doesn't give you that, then you have to find a new one. That's the reality, right? If the people that you're hanging around with doesn't give you that, you have to find new people to hang around with. Like for me, as I run my own business, technically I don't have colleagues, but the colleagues are really the peers, the other coaches that I meet on the internet and I know in real life. And I surround myself with these people because they make me feel so inspired by their progress, their vision, their stories. And I surround myself with people that make me feel like inspired and fulfilled. Okay, so you want to once again discover what you value, discover what motivates you, discover what inspires and fulfills you, and create an environment that has that, right? Create an environment that inspires, fulfills, and motivates you. Number 3, last but not least, getting curious and throw in some fun. Okay, so the core processes of my business really now involves coaching, creating content, which is like marketing, collaborating with other entrepreneurs, studying and leveling myself up, as well as business brainstorm and strategy, right? And it's always these 5 things, right? Mainly these 5 pillars. So I need to find ways to get curious, right? I open my mind to learning new things about the work I do, studying about coaching, human psychology. I meet other coaches and find out what they do. I open myself up to learning new ways to do my job well and discovering new ways to make things exciting. And this is actually what inspires me to come up with new creative ideas. You don't need to implement all of it, but it's exciting to just learn more and know more, and you may actually use it in your work or in your business later on. So this is what you can do to apply it. Book a coffee session with a colleague or a peer. One thing that never gets boring for me is meeting someone new and listening to their story. And the next thing you can do is to throw in some fun. For me, I love organizing in-person meetups with my Own Your Voice coaches. I play games with them, we just eat and fellowship over a nice meal. We have impromptu question games. I actually appoint one of my coaches to conduct the games. So this keeps it fun, it keeps things exciting. And for me, I love in-person meetups. That is the human connection is through the roof, during in-person meetups. So I love doing that. And that's one way for me to throw in fun. So you want to ask yourself, how can you make it fun in your work? So those are the 3 ways that you can exercise to purposefully contribute in your job when you start finding it being mundane. All right. In summary, number 1, understand your bigger purpose, and A, find ways in which your job contributes to your bigger purpose, and B, find opportunities within your job to serve your bigger purpose. Number 2, discover what you value, what motivates you, create the environment that inspires and fulfills you. And number 3, get curious and throw in some fun. So once again, I suggest you to download the document that comes with this podcast. It includes the powerful guiding questions that I mentioned during this podcast, and that is one way that you can really apply it and not just listen to this and forget about it. It's available on my private Telegram channel. All you have to do is to go to the podcast description or episode description, click the link and join that Telegram channel. Be part of the Own Your Voice tribe. And last but not least, I just want to say this, right? I want to commend you for reaching the end of this podcast. There's so many people out there that feel uninspired and unfulfilled in their job, but not everybody does something about it. Take the questions I've shared and actually do it. That is the way to enjoy what you do more. And so that is the end of today's episode. I hope that you have gained some value from this and you actually do the questions, because those are the questions that really helped me for my life and my business. And if you find this helpful, send it to a friend. You can, actually the best way to process learnings is to send it to a friend, let them hear it and discuss your learnings with them. That's one way that you can really ingrain what you have learned in your mind. And of course, if you have any podcast suggestions, you have certain questions that you want me to answer during the next podcast, leave it in the comment section below or drop me a direct message on my Instagram at Rain Matrix. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Own Your Voice pod. Bye!